The great Doris Fletcher led some sort of skull nest in her theatre. It's just disgusting.
Welcome back, my mortal peer. Let me look at you with my piercing new eyes.
Good evening, Aloysius. How do you feel?
Mr. Dawson to you. You may be my maker, and I thank you for that. But we must not forget etiquette.
Forgive me, sir.
You're forgiven, my dear doctor. And if you need anything, even the most expensive items to help you in your mission, you just have to ask. I'll be glad to sell you some of the rarest goods I own.
How is the sanitary situation in the city?
Hopeless. It's as if new sources of infection continue to spread, even though you've cleansed the theatre.
What is the situation in the club?
Lord Redgrave has just informed me that we keep on fighting the Garda Prewen. I can't wait to test my new physical abilities against mortals.
The vampire hunters are dangerous, sir. They may be mortals, but they are trained and quite efficient, believe me.
Bah! Nonsense! How could they resist me, now that I can endure almost anything? I feel victory in my veins, thanks to you.
Is Lord Redgrave fighting too?
Yes. I've heard he's out every night, hunting the hunters. He's showing us all how things are done when true English blood feels endangered.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Dawson. You've lived a long life and have surely met some interesting and influential people.
Sod off! I don't reveal my life to someone I hardly know, whether he be my maker or not.
I beg your pardon?
You heard me. And remember, I already wear a protective amulet against your mental intrusions, Dr. Reed. I've studied your species for decades.
What is your plan, if I may ask? Not for the city, but for your own future.
My future and the future of this city are one, Dr. Reed. Step by step, London will soon be the center of the greatest empire ever.
Would it be insolent to ask what the first step will be?
I have ordered the assassination of my entire family to ensure I'm the sole heir to my fortune. I can't take the risk of facing another immortal Dawson.
When will that be achieved?
We should gain total control of Europe and the Western colonies, and aim to put an immortal king on the throne within a century.
Are you already planning a coup?
Of course not! My only interest is in the protection of the crown. I want to turn the legitimate king or queen into a powerful echo.
How do you feel since your return?
I think I may have acquired and read every forbidden document about vampires and how it feels to be an immortal. I even own a copy of the Blood Bible, but nothing compares to what I know now.
What is this Blood Bible?
It's supposedly the only documented evidence that an immortal attended the Last Supper. You should read it, if you ever find it.
What have you discovered?
That mortals are but puppets in our hands. I can sense a rat running in our attic right now. Nothing can stop me doing precisely what I want.
I may need equipment and some rare items to protect the city, sir. Good evening, Lord Redgrave.
Welcome, Lance-bearer. To what do we owe this pleasure?
I've located the true origin of the epidemic, and I'm about to end it.
Good. We've held out thus far, but the time has come to put an end to this crisis. Tell me, what do you need?
The blood of William Marshall.
The blood of William Marshall? Of my maker? Are you mad? This blood is the purest of all. My maker proffered it to me on the battlefield. I cannot hand it to you.
This is more important than the club, you or me. This is London's last hope.
I see. Well, in that case, given the gravity of the situation, I suppose I can spare you a drop.
Thank you, my lord.
Now go, Lance-bearer. Craft a legend to be sung to Ascalon recruits for the ages to come.
Between men and women. Women die.
Last warning, sir.
Steady, boys! We got one of them.
Cross the lead! Lively! It's on to us! Die!
head back if I were you, sir.
Leech spotted! Watch out, cowards! A leech! A leech! Steady, boys! We've got one of them!
If McCullum really drank the blood of King Arthur, then I may have found another vital ingredient for my recipe. Good evening, vampire hunter.
Are you here to end me, Leech? You'll find I will not be killed easily.
Not at all, McCullum. I am here because I need you.
Really? I'm intrigued. Speak up, then.
I need the blood of a king. The blood of Arthur. I'm certain you possess it, and I must have it.
The guard's most sacred and precious relic. Why would you... You found Marshall's memoirs. I should have destroyed that book.
I need the antidote to save this city, McCullum.
It is within me to take your words as truth. I want to, but I must know more. What precisely are your plans?
I have found the carrier, McCullum. The infection's source. It may be science or some supernatural power that's responsible for all this. But I will harness either or both to end the epidemic.
A vampire doctor. My God, you're a terrifying creature. Jonathan Emmett Reed.
Do you not understand? We wanted the same thing from the outset. A means to end this vampire epidemic.
Not enemies. Maybe that is so. Take it then. I see no other hope for this city. If this is some trick, you will be damned, Dr. Reed.
Thank you. Can we speak more?
Indeed. Why not?
Why are you here?
The man who raised me after the brutal murder of my parents. He's buried here.
Were both your parents killed by vampires?
Yes. And yet worse. My father returned to Dublin a vampire and tore out my mother's throat.
And who was this man?
Carl Eldritch. One-time leader of Prewin. He killed my father in front of me. Helped me hunt my brother Ain after teaching me how to kill leeches.
What will the Guard of Priwen do now? Will you stop the Great Hunt?
Yes. But we shall continue to protect innocents from beasts like you and your red-headed friend.
Like me?
I am indebted to you for sparing me at Pembroke. But this won't always be the case. I'm no coward like those St. Paul's Stowe brothers.
How long have you known Lady Ashbury? Where is she? And what will you do to her?
We saw you meeting her, so of course we investigated. But she is gone. Our scouts reported she has sold some paintings and departed for an unknown destination.
Adieu, vampire hunter.
Until we meet again, blood drinker.
The power of the Lord commands you!
I cannot use garlic, but there may be a substitute in the Pembroke Hospital drug storage.
Sorry, sir. No admittance.
Everyone shall prevail.
There's safer places to be than here. Stupid bitch! Son of a... No! Crawl back to the hell that spawned you! We will crush this beast! Kill him! Remember your words, friends! The power of the Lord commands you! He got that leech is gone! Go on back to the shadow!
It's locked, all right. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this.
Back to the hell that spawned you. Lord, give us strength. Put an end to you. Remember your vows, friends. I shall
There it is. Insulin. Much more efficient than garlic against blood poisoning and sepsis, and much less dangerous for me. Thank you, Dr. Polescu.
Would be, sir. I wonder why came here in the first place.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
Not really. I think I caught something in this bloody hospital. I swear I'm dead, yet smiling inside, Dr. Reed.
As long as you remain here, I will make sure you don't have to worry about your health.
Don't think you can do much about it. Damage is done.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Oh, the pain. It's here again.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to see your...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor. Still...
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm afraid I do. Like everyone in this hospital. It's a sad state of affairs when even the hospital workers are worried about disease.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to...
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye. It's alive. It's alive. And it needs a name. I shall call you Lisa.
Hey, Doc.
You're lucky to be alive.
This place is full.
Consider yourself lucky.
Don't play...
I'll leave.
You look at God. You're pushing yourself too hard. You don't.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical assistance, Nurse?
I will be fine as soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Your agenda, sir. How long's it going to take to fix me properly? A month? A year?
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
I've read your son's medical report, Beatrice. It's not the flu or anything life-threatening. What has you so worried?
He was at death's door when he was brought here. I just want him to be better as soon as possible.
He's not out of the woods yet, you know. He might need to stay here longer than expected.
Take care of him then, Dr. Reed. People here only seem to focus on contagious patients. I worry my poor Mortimer will be neglected.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
What do you think he meant by making the world a better place?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
Do you realize your son could try to kill himself again? He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal. And unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have you by his side.
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my son is something I am incapable of.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
Do you require medical attention?
Do you know you're the only one who...
Despite what you...
Well, at least you're...
Goodbye, Miss...
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with...
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Your mother won't let you down, Mortimer. Don't you share her hope for a better future?
No. I don't.
Won't you even try?
Do you want me to promise you I'll get better? Do you want me to tell her the same thing? I could, but it would not change anything.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous.
Then you are lucky that I have to.
I wish this...
Thank you.
This hospital seems to be falling apart. But in the circumstances...
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you go.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a... Goodbye. Good evening, Dr. Reed. Do you need medical attention? Well, the proxy. Don't take too many. And that is a... Goodbye.
Clear again.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Don't worry.
Goodbye, Dr.
Step away, sir.
There is a name engraved under the blood on the back of the case. Jack Gillingham. Perhaps Enid's son.
Stop, Vampyr! Back, demon! Back! Stay back, beast!
Kill it!
The power of the Lord commands you! Burn it, boys!
Sir, no civilians. Steady, boys! We've got one of them! The power of the Lord commands you! We have crushed this beast! I'll put it into you!
Oh my God! I am here to step back!
Good evening, sir. I'm glad to see you safe.
I am not safe. I should never have come back here. My life is in danger. I know it.
You're much safer here than in that contaminated area.
Bullets kill people quicker than diseases and epidemics, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about this district?
The East End Docks only knows one rule. Dog eat dog, and blood calls for blood. The gang will have their revenge on me one way or another.
What can you tell me about the locals?
Most people would say that Sean Hampton and Tom Watts are good men who try to sort things out. But for me, the real boss around there was my best friend, Jack Gillingham.
Jack Gillingham, you say?
Everyone round there knew Jack. He was a rock. A mountain, even. He feared nothing.
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I heard he kept on helping people, but I tried to stay away from his shelter. I don't feel safe there.
Are you worried about the sanitary situation in London?
Not really. I've spent so many days hiding to escape retaliation from the Wet Boot Boys. Now that there's so much chaos, they might forget about me.
Your friend Jack has something to do with you fleeing to the contaminated area where I found you. I want to know more.
Jack is dead. That's all you need to know. Dead because of me. So much violence. So much sorrow. All of that because I refuse to be insulted again.
No man can predict the exact outcome of his actions. It's the curse we have to live with. We can only gamble and do what we think is best.
Perhaps you're right. The district was doomed before I was born. But I cannot stop myself thinking that Jack died for me.
Why do you say that?
After I killed that gang member, the Wet Boot Boy suspected Jack. And being loyal and all, he did not refute the accusation.
You are not going to spend the rest of your life hiding, Rodney. What are you planning to do?
Honestly, I have no idea. How am I supposed to live while so many have suffered because of me?
Only you can answer that question. But one thing is certain. Since you owe Jack your life, I think it's fair to live it in a way that would make him proud.
That's the kind of thing Jack could have said, Dr. Reed. Thank you for that. I believe you're a good guy too.
The death of your friend has affected you deeply, hasn't it?
Jack Gillingham was the real deal. He believed we could change the world if we were united and focused enough. And he brought out the best in each of us.
You're right. He died to save you. That alone gives me an idea of the kind of man he was.
He was the bravest. And no one dares to say openly that he got killed by those bastards.
Your friend's plan was audacious, if not reckless. No one stands up by themselves to a gang like the Wet Boot Boys.
How dare you say that? You never met him.
Do you need help, Mr. Grader?
Death by disease or by bullet? Do I really have to choose?
Well, I have nothing to stop the bullets, but this should make you feel better.
You have a strange sense of humor, Dr. Reed. But thanks anyway.
Goodbye, Mr. Grader. Take care.
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something.
Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course. So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here? We haven't talked in quite some time.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
I've never heard that name before, I'm afraid.
Are you worried about the sanitation crisis in London?
Too much noise, too much shouting. It keeps me up. Is it really gunfire I'm hearing?
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Jack is dead, Miss Gillingham.
Of course he's not. I've seen him. Tonight, in fact. Ever the joker, Dr. Tippets.
I found this watch. It was a gift from you to your boy, wasn't it? I think it should return to you now.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I recall the day I offered Jack this watch. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. Thank you, sir.
Trinkets and possessions help us remember our past. Promise me you'll not lose it.
I would never lose anything that belonged to Jack. Why don't you take this? Dr. Tippets? Please, for your charity.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham. It's locked. Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reed.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
He keeps investing time helping the poor and sick. Good for him. And for them.
Are you feeling worried about the sanitary situation in London?
This city is falling apart. The disease kills so many people. No one cares about anything or anyone anymore but themselves.
Young man, do you require medical attention?
I don't like asking for help. But I don't want to be one of those poor sods dying in the streets.
There's no shame in asking for help, especially when you are in desperate need of it. Here, take this. You should recover in no time.
Thank you, I suppose.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale.
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something.
with my hook! This one's mine! At least 4 weeks. Lively! It's on to us! Steady, boys!